Hey, you guys, welcome to another episode of Poetry.Power.People. I can't believe we're already on episode 6.
Right, so fast.
Episode 6.
Excited about that one. Thank you guys for all tuning in. As you know, I am LovelyLina 23 on Instagram, Maylina Patino on Facebook. So you can catch me there. And where can they find you guys at real quick?
It's your girl Honey. I am on Instagram, mother.honey, and the honeybee on TikTok.
You can find me on IG at Spike Bless, Facebook at Jordan Elijah, and 1216 Studios everywhere.
Woo woo. All right, so we're gonna get into the topic of lasting connections. To get to that topic shortly, we're gonna go ahead and dive into one of his songs today. So make sure you guys check it out on all platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got playing Smoove featuring Tamara Jewel, Slow Jams. It's not released yet on like Apple Music and YouTube, but definitely coming soon, and I need y'all to go check this one out.
When the DJ play this song, we'll be running all night, no telling where we go when the lights come on. When I get you home, fucking till the sunrise, no, I don't see nobody else but you tonight. Till the DJ play this song, and we gon' put it on. Baby, let's get undressed and leave the phones alone. Baby, when I'm in my zone, I'm gon' put it on.
Leader of the new school now, pull up on you top down, riding in the cool with the sound. Marijuana fumes so loud, bird's eye views of the cloud. I never bail, roll bell loud. In the backseat we wild. Hit you with the wood, girl, that pussy so good that I feel like oh you know foul. Lights down, I've been feeling this energy. We was meant to be, we be more than just lovers. I go down and go under. I might drown and recover. Plenty rounds when we fucking. Turn down the lights, let me get in my zone. Feeling so good it can never be wrong. Fucking you good while we playing this song. Whoa.
Sunrise, no, I don't see nobody else but you tonight. Till the DJ play this song, and we gon' put it on. Baby, let's get undressed.
I mean, talk about a song to vibe to, just a nice night ride or just
Yes.
summertime vibe. So,
Definitely.
real quick before we even jump into the topic, tell me what your inspiration was behind that.
For that song, honestly, it was just one of those nights. You know, we were in that type of vibe. Just wanted to make something different, something for the women. You know, something with a different feel.
Okay,
That's all.
okay. So who was singing?
Tamara Jewel.
Okay,
She's
all right.
actually a singer from here, from Detroit. So
Okay,
shout out
cool.
Tamara.
Mm-hmm.
That's not,
Shout out
that's
to
that's
Mary.
nice. Like, you know, I like when people put together tracks where it's like, it sounds like it should already be on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could tell that there's people that have potential out there, and they maybe need like the right engineers or whatever it may be, right? And it's like, it's dope to see when people are able to put something together and it
Yeah.
sounds super quality. Like,
Oh, yeah.
oh, I can hear this on the
Thank you.
radio any given
Mhm.
day. So to me, the quality from it, it delivers that. So
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Definitely.
You're
Yeah, shout
welcome.
out Tam.
Hey.
And they be working hard, and they doing it on their own.
For a second, I mean, I know you
You
got
know.
some vocals.
Yes, I know.
I'm a low.
Yes,
I'm
I
gonna
know.
need her on the track sometime soon.
Oh,
So
yeah,
what's
definitely.
funny is like, when was that? Maybe 8 years ago or so.
Mhm.
He had a whole mixtape, and I was on like 3-4 songs, and I was feeling real good. So
That's dope.
I do miss those days. It was so much fun in the studio.
And then even
We'll
like,
get you back in there. Don't worry.
yeah, I was about to say, even then when you
We'll
go
get
back
you
in there, you probably will surprise yourself even the growth, because
Right.
when you just naturally have a passion to do something, or you already have kind of like the talent, it's just
Mhm.
really about the charisma and just
Yup.
growing from that. So
Yup.
I think you'll be shocked next time you hit the studio.
Yeah,
So
bro.
that'll be cool. That'll be
No,
cool.
that's tight.
So speaking of that, we are going to jump into the topic, lasting connections. So we definitely want to talk about how the business aspect, you know, fits into that, but then even like the intimacy level, like how to keep things excited and new. So I'm gonna start with the music part since that's where we're coming from.
Okay.
As far as what do you guys think it was as far as like adding to, you know, him being an artist that kind of helped keep that relationship going? Because let me put it like this. A lot of times there's jealousy involved, you know, especially him working with other women.
Right.
And that can be a thing, and that can really challenge the relationship to have like that trust when maybe you guys are not constantly around each other. So tell me about that.
So for me, I feel like it's just a certain level of trust that you have to have and like uphold with your partner, period. Mm-hmm. So without that, you really can't go do anything. You can't even trust you to go to the grocery store or to the block. So when you have established that trust and have established it for such a long time,
right?
Little things like that you don't really even think about. For me personally, for me personally, I don't even think about it. But at the same time, it's God, you know.
No,
that's working with your girl.
No, that's a real thing. It is. Like we all have like insecurities and self-doubt at some point. That's like, you know, natural. But then there's obviously some that take over, and then it becomes a thing where it's a you project. And then sometimes it's a we project because maybe there's like behavior that unintentionally is being done. And then it's like, I don't really like that. I don't care for that. Like, what is it going to kill you not to do that? Would you die if you refrain from doing that?
Right.
And that sometimes I feel like in relationships, that's what you have to kind of like ask yourself, like, if this bothers my partner, how can I go about like coming up with a compromise?
Right,
per se?
exactly.
So but what would you say your side of it is?
Let me see. Repeat that question one more time for me.
So like when you're looking at your music and just keeping things like, you know, to a standpoint of like not only you guys working together, but building that trust so each one of you guys feel comfortable. Like even with her career or what she does or whatever, you know, she fine too. So. But go ahead.
For me, it's just having that trust and that bond together. Just, you know, having faith in each other to be honest and be truthful with each other and just truly putting that faith in, you know, somebody to, you know, have the best judgment and make the best decisions.
Okay.
So
yeah, you guys both like seem like you're on the same track as far as that.
Yeah, as far as with the music though, it's never really been an issue. You know, she understands like it's all just business at the end of the day. You know, getting the best artist for the job. So
got it.
You know, it haven't really been an issue yet. So
I'm gonna piggyback off of that question a little bit. So, cause like I love asking questions like this, but I think the biggest highlight to me is the how to. Because you could say like trust, loyalty, whatever, right? But it's how to. Like, how do you make that person feel comfortable in the space that they're in with you? Like maybe you call her X amount of times throughout your session, or say, hey, for 3 hours, I got to be away from my phone. Like, what does that look like for you when you're in the middle of like recording or doing whatever it is that you're doing?
I'm trying to get better with that actually, because she'll tell you I'm terrible with just, hey babe, you know, I'm busy right now, I'll text you later. So I kind of, you know, go missing for a while, but she gets it though at the end of the day. So.
Good.
I feel like that's another, it's like, it's different if you're just meeting this person or have never like built up this bond or this like friendship first type situation, and this is new for you. So of course every little tiny thing, but it's been a while. So we already just know like he don't play that, I don't play this, we not even about to do that.
Right.
So it's easy. Nothing's ever easy. Let's not say easy, but it's easier for us because we grew up together. Yeah. So we would never really like intentionally do something that's just like you know.
Yes.
So,
but speaking of the you know part, okay. So like it's funny to me because I feel like a lot of men will say most women are crazy. Or at that all, right? So my biggest thing is like, what's the level of crazy that maybe you feel like you might have been on and you had to be like, I know that was too much. And then maybe you had to go back and apologize, or you had to kind of like put yourself in check.
Oh yeah, I talk too much. Okay. Oh, I talk too much.
That's honest. Transparency is key.
Yeah, and you know, like, I'm a Taurus. I'm stubborn, hard-headed.
Don't go there with the stars aligned today. That's what we're not doing.
That's all you need
The
to say.
old moon, the new moon. I don't know.
So, and I grew up as the only child. So basically, I never really had to like cohabitate and like shut up or don't. So it took a long time, but I'm starting to realize like sometimes like the best answer is just like okay, just let it be okay, and then we'll revisit it later when it's not.
So before he gets to answer the question. I am definitely, my friend, one of my guy friends, he was like, that's pretty women problems. Because I'm like, no, if, like, I feel like at some point, if I call you or I text you, like, there's a certain time frame, like, that you should get back to me. Yeah. Like, on everything. Because, and I'm not saying, like, something silly, like, if you don't text me in 2 minutes, that's your ass. Like, exactly. I'm not crazy like that, but I feel like you are never going to ignore me. That's what you're not going to do. And then my friend, he'd be like, that's some pretty people problems. I'm like, no, it's not. It's just like a level. Everybody has their phone. Yeah. Like, either you got a watch or you got your actual phone. But the average person is never spending a whole day away from their phone. Because most people just don't have the self-control. Yeah. And then I also feel like, too, that's just grounds when you're in a relationship to say, hey, I need some me time. I'm going to be away from my phone for 24 hours, a couple days. Whatever the duration of time looks like. My biggest thing is like, you will not ignore me. Yeah. And once you do, like, the adjustment will be made. Yeah. Right? Whether it's eventually you being gone or me just like, I can't entertain somebody that to a certain level doesn't like prioritize the relationship.
It don't take much to just be,
hey, I'm busy.
Hey, I'm doing something. I'll get back to you. Hey, I'm safe. Hey,
I told somebody to their face, if you ignoring me is the reason I'm crazy, I'm gonna be crazy. Period. I'm gonna be crazy because like I am not an unreasonable person. I think the biggest thing people have to look at like is unreasonable and reasonable. Compromise versus changing. Yeah. And for some reason, change and compromise seem to be a confusion. Yeah. So, but go ahead. I had my little spew.
For me, as far as like crazy stuff, I can definitely have a temper at times.
And you be breaking shit?
No,
I'm kidding.
No, definitely not. No, I don't like wasting money like that.
Hey man, it's weird to me when people do that.
Just,
like you working your own stuff and you gotta live here.
I can say with like words, that's probably as far as I'll go as far as craziness. Like the reason, men, we get jealous too sometimes. So,
okay. But that kind of feels good on both ends because it like lets that person know like you still care. Like exactly. And it because like when you don't care at all, like you really not concerned with what that person's doing.
I'd rather you be mad at me than ignoring me. Yeah. Because that's when it's really bad.
Somebody checked out.
Yeah, that's telltale sign. That's telltale sign right there.
So when you guys have these moments, like, what is your way to like come back and center each other in the past and like kind of like bring each other close again without it being like I'm not talking to you for a week or whatever. And then even like describe the progression throughout the years. Like maybe the first 2 years was like I didn't talk to her for a week one time, but then as we got to 5 years, it would be like maybe 24 hours, whatever. Give me an example of that.
I'll be honest with you. Since 2008, I don't think it's been a day that we haven't talked to each other.
Good. It's definitely say that. It's definitely been days, but
barely.
I would say more so on my part. Yeah. Like I get a little stubborn like that to where I'll go missing for a minute. She don't really do that. I can't. Like if she ever do
it,
like
that's guys' retaliation is kind of like
it's
almost like the silent treatment.
I know that's the thing that bother you. As women, y'all hate being ignored, like you said. So. That's my way of being petty without doing too much.
I guess, cause like I don't know, this day and age, I feel like it's good that you guys been together for like what would you say, 15 years?
Almost, yeah.
So I think in people in newer relationships that only known each other for a couple of years, like I don't fuck around and be like, oh, I forgot about you. I'm like, no, for real. Don't let me go too long without being without you because it's almost like I have my own thing, my own life, and I feel like I have a good balance, but there is like that fine line of like you can't let that stubborn and pettiness escalate to that
to a
point.
certain extent.
Because then it's like you're teaching that person to be without you in a sense.
Yeah.
And like everybody should be without, you know, their partner,
Yeah.
like to the extent of having their own things to do on
Right.
life, on whatever. But like on the basis of like, I'm not gonna talk to you.
Yeah. Never a week though.
Yeah,
Never more
That's
than
good.
never
That's
more
good.
than a couple hours or a day,
that's good.
something like that. Maybe
I'm
not
gonna
even a
text
day,
you.
but
Yeah.
never a week though.
And see, I'm an advocate for obviously communication because you can be mad if you want to be mad, but just say, hey, I don't feel like talking to you right now, or I need some space.
Exactly.
And then I was reading something that I thought was interesting was when you tell somebody you need space, whether it's male or female to each other, they were saying like it's good to create a timeline for when you guys should come back. Instead of it being like, I need space, and then you take 5 days, and for maybe you, 5 days is too long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
Like everybody has their balances. So I thought that was interesting because when you create a timeline like that, it just lets that person know like, hey, I still respect you as a person, but I still need my space, and this is until when that I need my space.
Exactly. I'm
Instead
not
of like leaving it
or
lingering.
abandoning you.
Yes.
I just need a minute.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, that's smart.
I definitely think that's important to have that little bit of space. Like we all need it. You know, no matter how long you've been together or whatever, eventually you feel like, oh, I just need a day.
Yeah.
I just want to relax today. I don't really want to talk.
Yeah.
Or I just want to chill. So,
Yeah.
you know, you got to respect people's boundaries and understand that we all human.
Okay.
Yeah.
We need alone time.
Yes.
And then
And
that
it's
goes,
good for you, actually. It's not a bad thing to be alone sometimes.
Yes.
And that
So-
goes back to the compromise. Like not changing, just
Yeah.
compromising. Like I need a
Exactly.
second.
Definitely.
Exactly.
So yeah.
I like this one because I like we activities or together activities. So both of you guys can, of course, answer this, but like name an activity or a time that you guys spent together that was like the most memorable. And then what was the highlight? So what made it great?
I know. Wow.
Like you guys have put in
So
a lot of
I
work. So
gotta-
I'm like, you
I
actually have a lot.
dig deep for that one.
Man.
The best time or one of the best times.
Yes.
Wow.
So one of my most memorable, we've had a lot of best times, but one of my most memorable, high school, we graduated 2012, and prom was Saturday, and then, prom was Friday. We went to Kalahari, just us, by ourselves. We drove to Ohio right after prom. We played all the games at Kalahari, and then we went to Cedar Point that Sunday and drove all the way back all by ourselves. And that was like one of the first times that we were able to like have a we activity like that was somewhere else, and it was just this great thing. And I feel like that to me was the most memorable because we had such a great weekend. And that Monday was my birthday. Turned 18, like it was just, that was the perfect weekend. Perfect week when we drinking energy drinks, running up and down.
I'm like, I miss
it.
being young.
It was so much fun. And that was the youth of it. It's like you don't have all these just stupid things to worry about when you that age. Like you just having fun, enjoying yourself. And it's like that was such a good week.
You can't catch me with an energy drink. It's like, I'm going to bed, y'all. I'm out. Like, let's do some daytime parties, and that's it. Actually, I don't even want to go to the club later on, so find somebody else to do it.
Yeah, find me something that started at 1, please.
Wow.
So what about you?
For me, it would probably be the first time I ever came over your house. It
That was
was
a good one too.
her mom had all this food laid out and snacks and this and that.
He
Bro,
said, I mess with the food.
Bro, I never had nothing like that in my life. I walked in there, man. I seen a whole setup, you know, this food, and I was what, like maybe 15?
Yeah, we spent
That's hilarious.
No, my mom gonna have spread now.
That was a special moment right there.
That is hilarious.
That's what I knew. I'm like,
He's
okay.
like, yeah, I remember the food.
I'm like, this the first time.
He's like, oh
Okay.
yeah.
You just set the standards with this.
Yeah,
one, so.
come on back over him.
That's hilarious. Oh my goodness.
That was a fun day though, and the most fun thing about it is that I went through so much to get out there.
Yeah.
My parents didn't even know I went out there to her house. You know, I snuck. I got up early in the morning. I said I was going to the barbershop. I caught like 2 buses, a ride, or this, or that. So when I got there, everything.
So like, let me ask you this: what time you get back home?
Oh no, I was busting midway through the day, but I'm like, you know what? I'm
I'm here now.
I might as well enjoy myself.
Yeah.
Right, I'll be back when I'll be back.
Yeah,
like you
yeah.
grown.
I think everybody
Way away
got
from
in
my,
trouble.
from my house. So
That's why I say my daughter's 17 this month. Like, a matter of fact, in a couple days, and she can't do that with me. No,
Yeah.
you bring yourself home right now.
Yeah.
And if I gotta come get you, the cops is coming too.
Yeah.
when I think about it, that's definitely the most memorable moment.
Yeah.
Just the effort I put in to get out there.
Yeah.
I spent the whole day trying to get out there. So
Aww.
Like
It was
I
worth
lived
it.
on Hall Road, all the way Macomb, and he was Gratiot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's
8
definitely
miles,
far.
7 miles.
Like, I feel like no matter where you're coming from, when I think of Hall Road, it's
Yeah.
far from everything.
That's a road trip.
Yeah, I
That's a
can't think
road
of
trip.
nowhere I've ever lived where Hall Road was not far.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or just the Utica area in
Yeah.
general too.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, that was a day,
No, I appreciate
That was
it.
the day. and it was
so
cold.
this question I feel like is important because sometimes as things are happening, you feel like it's maybe not a big deal, but then you realize how monumental it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess name a time for each of you guys that something happened in the relationship, whether you knew it was monumental as it was happening, or maybe post you're like, wow, that really changed us, for whether it's something physically that happened to you guys, emotionally that happened. Like, name a time where something monumental that you would call it had happened.
Mm-hmm.
Monumental. Something that I can think of just off the top is having our kids. Like when we had our first kid, I was 21. Were you 20? You was 20.
I was 21. Yeah.
Yeah, you were 20.
20 years old.
That definitely was like
That
a
was
huge moment and a defining moment for us because
Okay.
you know it's one thing to be in a relationship together, you know, and just but once a child gets involved, it turns into something totally different. So that definitely was something that changed us and made us, you know, more mature even at a early age, and that we realized like, okay, this is it. Like we in this now.
Yeah, this person is dependent on us.
We made a human,
We
so
gotta
we here now.
lock in. So
Okay.
I agree. Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay.
That's a good one.
So we're gonna get a little spicy though.
Okay.
So let me actually fix this just a little bit. I would say, as a woman, especially after you have a child, like the biggest thing is like us feeling self-conscious. So my situation was different. I was pretty young, so my
Okay.
bounce back was like,
Yeah.
and so it was like one of those things where I didn't feel out of the norm because I had my baby natural too.
Okay.
And I think like that's the biggest part is like, you know, being a woman, like how you had your child
It matters.
really has a trajectory on how you feel and how you're able to like recuperate from having a baby.
Very true.
So like for you, what would you say kept you still feeling like sexy and like still I'm a mom, but I'm still his woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like what kept that for you?
You know, I would have to say, like, when I had Ava, which our first daughter, when we had her, I was younger. I had lost like so much weight before I was pregnant, so that one wasn't too bad for me as far as like, you know, recouping and recovering. But this this last little boy right here, I ended up having to have a C-section.
Okay.
So once you do something like that, and you just don't heal the same. So for me, I went through that huge insecure feeling about myself for a really, really long time. Like it would make me sad, but like never one time did that reflect from him. It was still compliments. It was still, oh, I love that on you. It was still, you look great. Like, so it just never, it was like, you're being irrational. You look fine, you know, like you shut up, girl. He love you.
I
Do
didn't
your
realize how
thing.
much guys like a little bit of stomach though.
Right.
I did not know that. I'd be sitting here like, oh my god, I'm
I
good.
can't
Maybe
stand
like
it.
you look good. So yeah, I mean I could see that. Like
It's like it made me feel like I was tripping on myself.
Yeah.
Because he's not even noticing all the things that I'm worried about, and that's all that matters in the first place.
yeah, because like anybody individually, like they know their body, even if it's a man. Like that man can gain 15 pounds.
Yeah.
You know what that 15 pounds
Yes.
less what he felt like and what he felt like he looked like. So feeling and then visual. So I get what you mean.
Yeah. It
And
was just constant. Still.
and it's a thing like when you're around somebody so much, you don't really see like the changes. You know, even if it's happening over, you don't really see it until like maybe a picture. Like you know, somebody posts an old picture or something. You like, wow, like damn, you really you look like it, but it didn't feel like it was different or you know too much change with us. So
Yeah.
it was cool.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Definitely.
I really like to hear that, you know, you were still complimenting her because I think the biggest thing is like we lose sight of that, like complimenting each other in general.
Yeah.
But then even furthermore, it's so much more important to like us women to hear these things because it's like we're in a vulnerable state in that recovery. So like I know now if I were to have another child, even the thought process is like self-conscious for me. Cause I'm like, I know now, like my body's been through things, you know, so it's just one of those situations where I feel like I would be like, oh my God, I would be so nervous because you just, again, each pregnancy is different too on top of that. So like keeping that juice and that essence of like feeling sexy as a woman can be very challenged. So but that's good to hear that you guys have like worked with each other on that, which isn't a surprise why you guys are still together after 15 years.
You have to.
Yeah.
You gotta work as a team no matter what it is. Like even something as small as that, like self-esteem is huge. And it might not seem like it's, you know, a big deal why it was happening, whatever, but like no, those little words of encouragement and things like that, that'll just have you keep going for that day, even still.
For men and women.
Yeah.
Because you know, as you know, when she was pregnant, I put on weight too.
It's funny how y'all act like y'all pregnant too.
It's hard not to. I see you eating all this stuff. It's like, you know, you get a little piece of it.
It's like you got something.
Little piece turns into a whole meal.
Is it a parasite? Because it can't be the baby.
Little taste.
No, I definitely felt the same type of hunger, cravings, and everything. It was crazy. So.
But you know what? It just goes to show how even like emotionally connected men are. And sometimes like society will try to make men feel like they are disconnected from their emotions, but they're really not. And it's kind of like being in tune with yourself as a person, not as gender. Yes, women do have, it seems like, better intuition because we listen, I guess, to our emotions, and it may seem like it's emotions, but we know on the bottom of our stomach when something's not right. So, but men, like, they experience, like he was just saying, I felt like I was pregnant too, and it's like, well, because in a sense, mentally, you have that connection with each other, and in a sense, you are, like, on an emotional level, so that's crazy, true. But that's true.
That's super true.
So I was, you know, right by her, eating everything, so.
You had a food baby. We'll give you that. You had a food baby. You didn't have a baby, but you had a food baby.
Hey, I'll take it. I'll take it.
So as far as, how would I say it? Would you say there's people exterior to your relationship that's had influence, like intimacy wise or sexually? Like, because when we think of intimacy, and I like to separate those. Yeah, you know, having sex is an intimate thing,
right? But
the intimacy on the non-sexual level too is just as equally as important as the physical sex. So would you say like there's people or things that you guys have done, whether it be like family, reading stuff, that have created like, you know, that back and forth exchange?
That's a good question.
It's almost like I want to say I don't think so. Maybe it's something that we like unconsciously is happening and I don't like realize it, and then it led to that.
Okay.
But not that I could really think of. Like I feel like we, once again, on that growing up together type level, like we was just figuring it out as we went, as we go type thing, and that on my end at least I should say. I can't really think of any like outside factors that affected that.
Okay.
For me, not really. I didn't really grow up like with a lot of affection around me, like seeing, you know, like even other family members, you know, being super affectionate, like kissing and hugging or doing this. And so for me, once that became a thing in my relationship, I just wanted to keep it up and you know, prioritize that because it was never something that I grew up with in a sense. So.
What would you say created like that openness or that space to like receive that? Because I feel like when you don't come from that or you're not used to that, like it creates like that emotional disconnect or just that gap where you're like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like
it's weird.
Yeah, I think for some people it creates that gap, and then again for some other people it makes you want that even more. You know, it makes you crave that even more to have that stability and love and constant affection type thing. So for me, I was one of those people where, you know, I got it once we started dating. I'm like, I like this. You know, I want to keep this up and make this a thing. So
yeah,
It was like
rather than pushing away from it. So
right.
definitely.
Okay. So what would you say? Like, so you guys, of course, can each take turns, and then, but like, what would you say you think is like the most sexiest thing about him, or maybe even like a time where he like just like romanced you or did something like super amazing, like oh my god, like, and then vice versa, like same thing for you. What has she done that maybe is like, maybe it's even like a feature like physically on her that's like, this is the sexiest thing about her. I mean, obviously we won't be too explicit, but try to keep it PG-13.
So I don't want to sound lame, but I feel like just like appearance wise, like theater basketball shorts, just finished working out, glistening. It's just
Oh, she said she like them little sweat BBs.
yes,
She like my shorts.
yes, So I feel like that, like appearance wise, and then his freaking smile is so just. Oh, what's the word? It's addicting. Like, just do it again. Do it again. Come here. Give me the little cheese.
That's so cute. I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
don't
sorry.
So, like, physically, I love it. Oh, I love it. But then, like, something that he'll do for me, like, I feel like just with children as that and at this age, it's like just grabbing the kids for me. And, like, how they just adore him and jump all on his back.
Listen, we getting old when things like that. Like, go ahead, girl.
Like, yeah, that's him being a father. Like, and they just, oh my god, they love him so much. And it's just like seeing that to me, it's just like.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
I didn't want to sound.
You know when you be washing the dishes and busting them sides, you be looking fire,
right?
And
clean
go to work.
Go get that broom.
Okay, go ahead.
For me, I mean, of course she's beautiful. That goes what I was saying, but for me, it's just her calmness, and I told her this before, and just her way to keep her composure, like under pressure and under stressful situations. She's always that person I can go to, and you know, that'll keep me grounded and tell me like, you know, it's okay, and just you know, rub your shoulders and your back when you need it, like stuff like that.
Aww.
That's probably the sexiest thing. Just her way to just calm me down and keep me, you know, just present for the moment. So
good.
Definitely appreciate that.
That's so good.
And I mean, like she said, with me being a father, same thing with her being a mother. It's the kids love her. She just constantly teaching them something new. Like every time I see them, they just smarter. They know this or they know this now, and I'm like, yeah, that's definitely something that I always wanted to stress, like in a relationship. You know, making sure we constantly get better and develop as people, and that's something that she constantly does. So.
Look at y'all giving each other compliments. Y'all gonna get home and tearing each other's clothes off after this. I'm gonna be like, Jesus, put him to bed. No, but I like that. Like, you guys constantly have like something good to share and like give feedback about each other. And so, and the good part is like, it sounds super genuine because like some of the questions I asked are not necessarily geared toward, you know, what's the best compliment to her. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're open enough where you can create that if you want to. But it's like literally you're the ones filling in the blanks. So I really, I admire that you guys like constantly have like a lot of good feedback to give about each other, and it comes like supernatural. It's not the like you guys will think about like moments and memories, but like over the top as far as like you know, compliments as far as character, morals, and things like that. Those things are super important.
Very important.
What would you say is the most important thing about you guys' relationship, like moral wise or whatever, that you feel like has like kept you guys strong?
kept us strong. We keep people out our business.
Amen.
Mind our
Keep
business.
people out
Amen
your
to that.
business.
That's big. You mind your business and
Yeah.
don't let nobody else mind your business.
Exactly.
Because people might not have, outward ill intentions when they say certain things or do certain things, but like underlying sometimes it's that tone. And if you start talking too much or saying too much, like my mom always told me, like, me and him could get into it and I go blabbermouth to somebody. Well, now that person gonna be forever mad at him and we're fine. And now that person has this view on like, no,
true.
you keep people out your business because
you got a different level of forgiveness than they
Exactly.
do exterior to that relationship because they didn't build that bond.
and
with
it's
them.
one-sided. You're hearing a one-sided story from whoever is telling you
Yes.
this. So
Yes.
keep people out your business.
That is a great response.
Yeah.
I say that all the time. I'm like, because I could tell a story about something that transpired, but no matter what, there's going to be bias in it by
Oh,
default.
yeah.
Like, it's
Oh, yeah.
inevitable. So
Oh,
it's one of
yeah.
those things that it's like, come on now, like, you can't do that. But at the end of the day, like
Yeah.
you said, people don't have a neutral way of like usually
Exactly.
responding or thinking. So then when you're sharing that, what ends up happening is it creates that distance or that gap.
Yep.
So then every time your cousin come around, she looking at him like, this nigga.
Yeah, that's the worst thing that can happen right there.
Exactly.
And you turn the whole friend circle against them.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Over
Yeah.
something so stupid that wasn't even worth it.
And we're human, so we highlight a lot of negative things sometimes when we're thinking or we're talking. It just is what it is. But go ahead.
For me, I would say just having those tough conversations, being completely open with each other and honest when something's not right or if we feel this type of way. Like a lot of people, they won't have those tough conversations because they might be afraid that it will go further than what they wanted to, or they might hear something that they you're not necessarily ready for. So we definitely have a lot of tough conversations with each other and are brutally honest. And
Good.
it's not easy, but it's definitely effective and something that
Yeah.
I recommend to people, just being completely honest. So
Don't hold that back.
I wish more people could think like that. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It would definitely make relationships 20 times easier. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But even just dating, I feel like if people in the dating realm were like, hey, I don't want nothing serious. I'm just trying to.
just that.
I mean, because it's women like that
Yeah.
nowadays too. I don't, it
Yeah.
just is what it is. And I'm like, there's too many people that are willing to be on your side with that finding a quality woman that's looking for marriage or finding a quality woman that's not into
And it just
cheap thrills or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. You know what I mean? Like, there's people that are just on that and find that person that's at the level you want to be on. So it's kind of one of those things where it's like, well, why can't you just say what you feel?
Yeah, you just got to be honest with yourself. And
Certain
with
things are
other
like
people.
taboo, it still seems like.
Just save yourself a lot of stress,
It will.
a lot of drama, a lot of arguments.
Yeah.
Just be honest.
And how can you really genuinely call yourself like wanting to be with somebody or loving somebody or caring about somebody if you can't be honest with them?
That's very true. Because love creates like a level of vulnerability, and vulnerability typically equals that ability to be transparent.
Yeah.
And so
You feel
it is.
comfortable.
It is interesting to like hear people say, "Oh, I love her, I love him," but then you're telling everybody else what you truly feel and not that person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it definitely
Yeah, that's
creates
not
that gap. So,
Exactly.
but I definitely am 100% about keep people out your business. Like,
You can save yourself a lot of headaches.
as far as like social media though, what do you guys feel like you limit from social media about your relationship? As far as like trying to protect it, like you guys were saying.
Honestly, genuinely personal business. Like, we'll take our pictures and we'll go on trips and we'll post the kids, things like that, of course. But like, this and this happened today and blah blah blah, and then, or like subtweeting and blah blah, like all of that type of stuff. Because what you're gonna do is have somebody on the other side of that screen like, oh, they into it right now, or they fighting right now, and then it's actually happening,
But there's like a caveat to it because like I'll post stuff that I just simply agree with.
Yeah.
And it won't be a current situation,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it becomes a thing.
That's
sometimes.
happened too.
Where every so often, like I'll post something and somebody be like, "Who did it?" Or I'm like,
Ain't got nothing to do with me.
That's why if we get into it about something, I try not to repost anything.
Yes, exactly.
I know better.
Yeah, I just know she gonna automatically think, and vice versa. I think the same thing.
Yeah,
So.
but it's the algorithm. The algorithm is doing it because I swear you will be having this conversation or having an argument, and every single post you see on your timeline, it fit exactly what's going on. They know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you're right.
They listening.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
They know.
Because you know what? I feel like the worst place at this point is Facebook.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it is. Like, you know, you got Twitter. People go off on rants in Twitter. And then you got Instagram, you got these other social platforms. But for some reason, like, Facebook seems to be the place where you let it all hang out.
Messy.
Like, it's like Maury on Facebook to me, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I think that it's in real life.
I think Facebook is way more personal than a lot of other.
But why? Like, listen,
only because
social
that's where we
platforms
started.
are not a real place, and this is the problem.
I just feel like that's what we started with. Like a lot of people started. You know, mine is like MySpace.
MySpace,
like
I was about to say.
Yeah, I was about to say, of course, MySpace, but like when it really took off though was Facebook.
Yeah.
So like a lot of people that I'm friends with on Facebook, I actually know or you know have met before. So Instagram, I don't really know a lot of those people.
That's why I was like, Facebook is
Twitter,
like
Twitter. I definitely
like the thing. Like when, but you know, I take that back. There's one person, and I will not say their name. I'm like, sheesh. Like I would never put that. I'm sorry. If you want to make it, if you want to feel like because of what I post, I act like I'm perfect. No, I keep my business off of social media because it's not a real place. And at that, I'm not looking for somebody to soothe me when I'm going through something. And like you gotta be like your own person to soothe yourself. And even sometimes even amongst your friends, because like you said, he might have pissed you off, but at the end of the day, there are certain conversations you're just not gonna have. And you gotta do your own like self-healing, self-soothing, because at the end of the day, like you're not trying to put your relationship out there like that.
Yeah.
So
But
what we're gonna wrap up with is some closing statements. So, just as far as any feedback that you want to give to people, as far as you know their relationship, what's worked best for you guys, best practices.
I'll start. Just do you. Just do you. Focus on you. Focus on what you like or what you and your partner like. Don't worry about all the social media, you know, noise and people recommending this or suggesting you to do this, because most of those people don't even have a successful relationship. So just focus on you, what makes you happy, you know, what morals and values you have, what you stand on, and everything will be all right.
Okay.
I agree for sure. I feel like in a relationship, you really have to know your person, know your partner, and you gotta actually care to want to know like them as they grow. Like it's always a learning process in a relationship, and I think a lot of people are quick to give up. Something feels wrong, red flag, I'm walking out the door. Like if you really want to be in this relationship and you really want to make it work, you do the work. And also don't make it feel like work. Like when I say work, I'm not saying like it's hard and this, that, and that, because it don't have to be hard.
No.
If you can get on, it's not supposed to be. And I feel like if it's hard, then that's not your person. You might feel like you love and this, that, and the third, but like it shouldn't be hard. So just continue learning, continue growing with each other, and keep people out your business.
For me, I'll definitely say for the single people, it's like enjoy your journey. Like it's really okay to have that time of like solitude and be alone and just enjoy the space that you're in, because that anxiousness of needing to be somewhere or be with somebody is not going to land you usually in a good situation, because that's a sense of loneliness. And there's a difference between feeling lonely and being alone, because being alone is a choice and lonely is desperation. So for me, I would definitely encourage people, just enjoy your space that you're in. Take that time to continue to build yourself, build your career. If you got kids, be with your kids, become a better parent. You know, there's so many things that you can work on in the meantime while finding that partner. That is one of those situations where it's like there's too much to do to be concerned about if somebody wants to be with you. I feel like over time, actions say everything. You don't need to play a manipulating game of cat and mouse. Like, you know, you both should equally put in the effort. But women, we still are the prize though. So remember that. You are the prize, like Lori Harvey says.
I'm not gonna even argue with that one.
So where can we find you at?
You can find me on IG at Spike Bless, Facebook at Jordan Elijah, TikTok at Spike Bless, and yeah. Okay.
All right.
You can find me on Instagram, MUVA.honey, TikTok, the Honey Bee, and Facebook, Ashley Cares.
All right, you guys already know LovelyLina23 on Instagram, Maylina Patino on Facebook. Once again, thank you guys for joining us for episode 6, Lasting Connections. And then, as always, never stop working towards your dreams. Don't worry about the outcome. Be in love with the process. Have fun along the journey, rather good or bad. Definitely give everything to God, and through God, He'll give you peace. So, once again, this is Poetry, Power, and People. Take care. Love you guys.